Hey guys, welcome to episode 38 of Two Girls Chirping. I'm Lauren.
I'm Abby.
Today we're going to talk about week 2 of round 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals tournament saga. And the PWHL expansion draft.
Yeah, we're talking about the finals, games 3, 4, and 5. I couldn't do that math. To be honest, between us girls...
And others.
I'm not hungover, but I'm not hungover. And we've had a social weekend.
This is like day 2 of you being hungover.
I'm not hungover.
But this one is just a mental hangover. Yesterday it was a mild hangover. And that's your right.
Yeah, I did a lot though. So that's why I'm like, I wasn't hungover because I still got up at the ass crack of dawn and went golfing. And
honey, being hungover doesn't mean that you don't have stuff to do.
I gaslit myself to not be hungover.
Yeah.
Because if I'm hungover, I'm not doing anything.
Well, you were only mildly hungover. Mild to moderate, you can still do stuff. A severe hangover, I'm out for at least one business day.
Yeah,
and
I'm still drained.
Yeah.
I didn't rot like I wanted to yesterday.
This is not a rotting weekend, unfortunately.
I'm going to rot after we finish this, I hope.
Well, next weekend is my weekend of work, so you'll be able to rot because we'll record early. You'll be able to rot to your little heart's content.
Next weekend, we will have a Stanley Cup champion.
Ain't that some shit?
Yeah, we could, the day that this comes out, there could be a Stanley Cup champion that night.
I wouldn't be very happy with that. I really want a Game 7.
Yeah. So, there's been a good bit that's happened to the NHL this week.
Before we talk about the NHL, do we want to tell them how golf went?
I was incredible. I played probably the best I've ever played.
For those of you who recall from last week's episode, we went on my first golfing experience for Father's Day. The weather didn't work out, so we actually went yesterday instead of today, which is for the best.
Yeah.
And we get up 7 a.m. tee time, which is insane.
Let me set the scene for myself real quick. I had a friend finish his residency, and so we had a little, like, party or whatever. Like, oh, congrats, whatever.
Yeah.
I get home and go to bed around 1 a.m. I wake up at 5:30 to go golf. So I probably got 4 hours of sleep. I think my ring said I got 4 hours and 10 minutes. That feels generous.
Let me set the scene for y'all as well. I had worked the previous 3 days in a row, and you might be thinking that doesn't sound bad at all. Let me say, total during my work stretches like that, I get maybe, if I'm lucky, 18 hours of sleep over the course of. I maybe get 6 hours a night.
She also does 12-hour shifts on a very extreme unit.
Yeah, so that I was going in super sleep deprived.
Yeah.
As well. But nevertheless, we persevered. We got 7 brew, of course, because we are sluts for 7 brew.
Yeah.
And we went golfing. We had a 7 a.m. tee time. I got up at 5. You got up at 5:30. And then we went and played the back 9. Yeah, and we renamed one of the holes. Hole 17 is now
my hole.
Is Abby's hole. Apparently this so we were like going, we finished hole 16, and at almost the same time, every single member of both my parents and Abby look at me and say some version of, I'm going to apologize in advance for this next hole because this hole is actually a portal to hell.
Yeah.
And this hole has wronged me in every way possible. And I was like, it's not horrible. That bad. Like, it's just a hole, you guys. Like, we're here for fun. I'm here for fun. Abby and my dad were not there for fun.
No, we're there for competition.
My mom's just there for vibes and drama.
Yeah, she
threw her stick on the first hole. She threw her club on the first hole.
Yeah, my dad yelled at her. He didn't yell at her. He said, don't do that.
He didn't say anything because he is a man of few words. He's quite measured. And then the second hole, she made a joke about throwing the club, and we were all like, don't throw your freaking club. Like, we can't take you anywhere. This is not we're not gonna enable toddler behavior. Like, act like a grown up. You suck at golf and that's fine, but
and our mother is sweet, but she is dramatic, and she loves
she loves
cause
to
a
be
scene.
dramatic. Yes, she does love to cause a scene in the way that she would never do it in public, but like with family, she will just be overly dramatic.
Yeah.
It's like she sucked on her first swing, and like the second swing, she sucked even harder and threw her club.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
But it evened out.
Yeah. After everyone was like, stop it, knock
Yeah.
it off. What do you know? We had a great rest of the time.
Yeah, which she was like, I normally throw it once. I think
she was trying to look cool for me.
I think she was too. Because I was like, you never do that. She's thrown it once, and I was like, what the frick?
Once in like the 2 years
we're
that
at a
y'all
country
played.
club. Anyways, we go to hole 17, pick back up.
Anyways, our dad absolutely launches it. He's coming off the high of literally the best tee off he's ever had. And it was a beauty to see. He made it right over that pond, no problem.
Yeah.
So that really took the pressure off because we were playing best
ball.
So whoever got the furthest, that's where we all played from. Because Lord knows that we'd be there. We would still actually be there if we were making everyone complete their turns.
Which it's with a group of 4,
I feel like that's
especially
appropriate.
because it was your first time and our mother is.
Our mother. God love her.
It's easier to just pick the best ball.
So he freaking launched it. And then Abby, oh my God, she teed off what I can only describe as needing to be put on a PGA highlight reel. It was one of the best things I've ever seen.
It was definitely the best tee off I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I don't think that can ever be replicated.
Honestly, I went for fun and I made contact with the ball way more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, you did pretty good for your first time ever golfing.
Yeah, Mom was like, it took me 2 years to get as good as you're doing on your first try. And I was like, I mean, I'm naturally more athletic than you.
Didn't she putt with an iron at one point?
Yes.
And I love her to death. I love her.
She's either got too much power or not enough, which honestly, same. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I did get an invite for next time, so I guess I did get enough. And Abby was so pissed because they got me my old set of golf clubs for my first time.
Here's I golfed with them for probably a year before I even got golf shoes because I didn't know what I was doing. And they finally were like, you need golf shoes, bought me golf shoes. Just this week, after years of golfing with them, I finally got a golf glove because my thing is I don't do it frequently enough to buy it myself. I golf with my dad's clubs. Anyways, we pull up. They bought her shoes. They bought her a glove. They bought her clubs. They got her own ball color because she likes the color blue. And so they got her blue balls. I was like, what the frick?
What can I say?
What the heck, man?
They owe me reparations, okay?
For what?
Raising y'all. And raising them.
That's actually... Okay, yeah, I can't argue with that. Anyways, golfing was a success.
What you've got to realize is that Abby and my dad are normal-sized people. My mom golfs with a left-handed set of clubs.
Which is
for
crazy.
Some fucking reason.
Which I think is also part of the problem. That woman is a right-handed.
I know. I am right-handed. So there was no way I can use y'all's club. The one time I tried, I literally couldn't hit anything because it was too long for me. So I did need my own set of clubs. I needed my little petite set of clubs. But nevertheless, I did feel like that bitch. I was like, is it Happy Father's Day or is it Lauren's Day? Let's go. But yeah, it was fun. We did good. And then we got home. Well, we got breakfast and then we got home and we took a fat nap.
Yeah, I took an hour and a half nap and then I got up and I went to a birthday party at this place called Activate. That it's like life-size video games, essentially. Anyways, I laid it all out on the line at golf, and then I laid it even more out on the line at this birthday party. I am sore. I got home, and I was trying to wash my hair, and I had to, like, lean over to do it because my right arm is just done for, but that's fine.
Yeah. She went to Adventureland. I went to a protest, a peaceful protest, of course. It was a peaceful protest, yeah. Thank God they allowed us to be peaceful.
Yeah.
And then I went to Pride to support my friends, obviously. And we had a hell of a time.
Yeah. And the weather held out.
The weather held out until, like, 9:30, and then
Yeah.
the storm came. But like Pride had already been going on for an hour and a half, and there was only like another half hour of it. We loved it.
Yeah.
It was a big day for us.
Yes. And we both have to work tomorrow. I have to go in the office, which is really annoying. But
I have to go in the hospital.
I feel like I need to go to a hospital. Anyways, what else has been going on? Let's see. I feel
People have been retiring.
TJ Oshie's retired.
TJ Oshie, after 16 years playing with the Capitals, drops a goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
He really Nico Rosberg'd that thing.
Yeah, he did.
Nico Rosberg, for reference, used to race alongside Lewis Hamilton in F1 at Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton's the greatest Formula One driver of all time. They were teammates, which is already, there's rivalries in that. Anyways, Nico Rosberg beats Lewis Hamilton out of the blue for a world championship. And
It was not out of the blue. It was close the whole season.
I know, but to me it was out of the blue. And then at like a press conference after he wins it, he basically announces that he's retiring. Hadn't told the team. I think he
hadn't told anyone.
I think he won it and was like, okay, that's it. Bye.
Yeah, he's like, I came, I saw, I conquered.
Yeah.
Also, they had been like childhood best friends raised together.
Yeah.
And then they had like a falling out over competitive.
The Silver Arrows era.
Yeah. Yeah. Bro-Sadies, look it up because it's real and it's actually still relevant because it still haunts us.
It is very much relevant.
I think they only reconciled like a couple years ago. Like Lewis still sends Christmas presents to Nico's kids and everything.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing that Nico Rosberg, who is a reporter for Sky Sports, will do, he'll be like, yeah, this car is really trash. Like, how are you going to give this car to Lewis Hamilton? He'll be like, it's not the driver. It's that car. You see that piece of shit? Yuck.
Yeah. Gross.
I could never drive that thing. So you need to give him extra credit for driving a freaking tractor.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, give him a championship right now.
I know. But Lewis Hamilton is the most decorated F1 Formula driver. There's debate about who is technically the best. In each era, you have your best. He is currently our best. Max Verstappen is a generational talent. That is my man right there. I stand with my canceled wife. I will always stand with him. Unless he does something truly crazy. But he is like the next Lewis Hamilton kind of. He's this current generation's Lewis Hamilton.
I agree. Speaking of Formula One, the Canadian Grand Prix is this weekend.
I saw Arbor Jacki was there. Yeah, that
I did see Arbor Jacki and Brendan Gallagher were there.
Oh, I didn't see Gallagher was there.
They were there together.
I saw it briefly.
Yeah.
And I was like, you would be. You would be at Pride.
You would be at Pride?
No, that would actually be shocking.
I would be a bit shocked.
I saw it like briefly when I was at Pride, when I was like trying to look at something on TikTok for 2 seconds. I was like, oh, you go, Arbor.
Yeah.
You go, girl.
I did see that they're there. Did you see the person that was walking through the pit lane in full goalie pads?
No.
I think it was an Anaheim jersey or something. But somebody showed up through the pit lane in full goalie pads, helmet and all.
How were they allowed to get in?
I don't know, vibes.
There was pretty decent security at least the F1 race we went to.
Yeah.
Also,
they were in a pit lane. Who knows?
You know what?
It may not have been
your truth. Hell
it may not have been Anaheim. Don't quote me on that one. But anyways, so yeah, TJ Oshie's retiring. His speech brought me to tears, but that's not a shock to anybody.
If there's one thing that'll bring me to tears, it's someone retiring. Yeah. Even someone I don't know, or like a jersey retirement.
Yeah.
It's just such, oh God, it's so emotional.
Speaking of things that aren't surprises, the Stars have fired Pete DeBoer.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we talked about that last episode or if that was this week. This week's felt like a fever dream. I think it was
rumored. I don't think it was confirmed. Because several players had spoken out about how they did not fuck with him. Yeah. And they did not appreciate how he treated Ottinger. And they just overall didn't. Like in a bunch of exit interviews, they were like, nah, fam. He ain't it for us.
Nah, fam. That's a
we are
direct
not
quote.
The problem. They're the problem.
Yeah. The Rangers have traded Chris Kreider to Anaheim.
I'm not going to lie. That was shocking to me.
It wasn't
Chris
to me.
Kreider has been with them. He is actually as of when we are recording, which nothing's going to change, he is the youngest player to receive like or get the most playoff games before a regular season because he got pulled in 2012 for their playoff run. He really showed up, and then he's been with them since 2014.
Yeah, I'm not surprised though, because
I know he's had a bunch of injuries.
Well, just like he
and it's the
hasn't
Rangers.
Played very well this season, and it's the Rangers, and they're clearly rebuilding.
Do they have like a friendship pact with the Ducks? Because they send all their players there.
Yeah, that is funny to me because Jacob Trouba's at the Anaheim. Jacob Trouba's at Anaheim now too. I thought when I first saw this, I thought it was Zibanejad that was traded, and that was shocking to me.
I bet he wishes he was traded with Chris.
Because he carried that team, but Chris Kreider, yeah, that makes sense to me. I wasn't shocked.
I just hate, and this is where I just get, like, I understand it's a business, but I hate when they separate best friends. Like, those two are best friends. Mika even said it in his goodbye, like, tweet. Mika even said it in his goodbye tweet. I just hate that. But I get it. Yeah. It's a business.
And then I have
to quote the Hughes.
I have a couple more things before we get into the series. The Avs, Logan O'Connor had hip surgery and is out 5 to 6 months as well. He'll probably miss the beginning of next season. And then one of the prospects for the draft, Brady Martin.
Yeah.
And there was a post that I saw, I think the NHL posted it. Top prospect Brady Martin will not be going to Los Angeles for the draft. He is planning to stay home on the farm. There's seating and chores to do, and he wants to be with his family who wouldn't have been able to leave the farm and come with him this time of year.
Dude, the rookie babies looking to be drafted this year,
adorable.
I will protect the hell out of them.
Actually, yeah.
Him
I love
and Michael Schaefer, I think is his name.
I think so. I think
it's definitely Schaefer.
Schaefer or Sheffield, one of them.
Something similar. Like that. Y'all know who. The one whose mom died and he didn't go to graduation. He went to...
like a grief center.
Yeah, that one. I'll protect them with my life.
Yeah. Actually,
I'll stand 10 toes down for them as of this current recording.
Unless there's something we don't know. But
yeah, y'all let us know. Because sometimes they just be surprising you.
Sometimes they're terrible people.
Yeah.
Also you go.
Also, we got proof of life for the Hughes.
We got another death wish.
Such an immediate. Yeah, we did get another person who wished death upon us. I love being a woman.
I believe the statement was, the world would be a better place without you in it. Which is a hot take.
I said, wow, we're really projecting.
Yeah. The world would be a better place if people learned how to just scroll away from it.
And it wasn't even on our Pride post. I feel like it was on... I think it was on like our Formula One propaganda post or something. It was something random.
It wasn't like a Pride...
It wasn't anything controversial. Well, apparently it was controversial.
Apparently that was controversial, but people still...
I don't know. People like to argue about what they want to argue about.
I let people argue.
That's fine as long as you're not like attacking us or wishing... for us to die. Damn, son, I'm only 26.
Like, never mind.
So, deleted, blocked, and fuck right off. Next.
The PWHL expansion draft wrapped up. I don't have a ton of notes on it. Because I'm still learning a lot about the PWHL and how the draft works. From what I heard, people had a lot of thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I did read like the winners and losers of the draft. First of all,
Seattle looks stacked.
Seattle and Vancouver, they've got good people. But Seattle specifically, they have Hillary Knight. Why is this so small? Why can't I see?
A day in the life.
Yeah, they got Hillary Knight, which
was crazy to start off with. First of all,
Boston, I read an article about this. Their general manager did not protect Hillary Knight. She chose to protect Elena Mueller instead, which shocked a bunch of people. But the article I read was she was forced to choose between the future of the Boston organization and one of the best women's hockey players of all time.
I just feel like it's...
It is a hot take. But also, Hillary Knight is 36 and kind of nearing the end of her career. And I think that Boston's maybe wanting to bring in some younger players that can stick around for a while. But it's a hot take for sure.
I don't know that I would have done that, but I'm a very loyal person. So
Me too.
If Hillary Knight wanted to go, I'd be like, yes, let's make it happen. If she had wanted to stay, I'd be like, yes, let's make it happen. But it is always good to have like one of the best women hockey players.
Yeah.
As the like top 6.
She was signed.
She was
prior
the first.
to. Yeah, she was signed when in like the signing period before the expansion draft.
Oh yeah, I know that. But I was trying to
obviously, yeah, like give it to me. You go. Sorry.
What I was trying to say is like it's always very helpful to have someone who's super experienced and a legend in women's hockey to help you found a team.
That's a really good point.
So,
because
I don't know.
Even if she does,
even if she retires in a couple years,
there's things that you can learn from her that you can't learn from
me.
the way that I was about to drop names, but like they're all good. She has so much experience. I get why they took her. You'd be dumb to not take her. I don't get why Boston didn't protect her, but who am I to judge? I'm not a general manager.
Yeah.
I actually don't ever want to be.
I would be so bad at it because I simply care.
Yeah. Speaking of people who kind of lost big people, the New York Sirens.
Yeah.
They, I think...
Would you say they lost?
Got the most damage.
Would you say they lost the expansion draft?
I would. And the article that I read also agrees.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel better. They do have the number 1 pick in the draft at the end of the month. So hopefully that'll help them out a bit. But they didn't protect Eldridge. Mm-hmm. They protected Nealon Person. And it didn't pay off because Eldridge is gone now.
Yep.
Where did she go? She's in Seattle. She'll be in Seattle.
Yeah, she's with freaking Hillary.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, that team's going to be so stacked.
Dude,
I'm excited for Vancouver, too.
They won.
I do think that Seattle won. But Vancouver also got Sarah Nurse and Claire Thompson, which are big ones, too.
Vancouver is perfect. To me.
Yeah. I also think that the Sirens need to kind of wipe the slate clean because they have been terrible.
My thing is they weren't doing anything in the first place.
That's true.
And they protected some players that I wouldn't necessarily have protected. And I honestly think that they should...
the story of this draft.
Yeah, I think they should truly clean sweep. Let's just dump the house out, reshuffle, and see. You can't do... We can't go much lower than we've already been going.
Which was last.
Yeah.
That being said, Eldridge was top 10 in scoring in the PWHL, at least this season, but I believe the season before as well. Mm-hmm. So that's going to hurt, but good luck in the draft.
They're already at the bottom.
Yeah. Ottawa also kind of... Their D-line is...
Imaginary.
They lost their number 1 defender, Ashton Bell, to Vancouver. She was Vancouver's number 1 pick. Which they
hate each other. Like, Vancouver and Ottawa historically
have a rivalry.
They don't love each other.
Yeah. Moschmeyer, their star goalie, is gone. Where did she end up? In Vancouver. Serdachny's gone. She's going to Seattle. Those are 2 big losses. Even before the expansion draft, I was in the signing period. And they lost a lot of defenders. Ashton Bell. Anita Teralova is in Seattle from Ottawa. It's just like they need defense people now.
Yeah.
That's not going to be fun for them. Hopefully they have success in the draft. Toronto lost its 3 top draft picks from last season.
Yep.
And they basically said every single team lost elite athletes over the week, though.
Well, which is true. But some lost more.
I would argue all of these girls are elite athletes because it's such a small pool.
Yeah.
But they lost Megan Carter, who was probably their number 1 defenseman. They lost Nurse. We know this. Mm-hmm. Nurse is bad that they lost, mainly because I love Sarah Nurse. But it's also good from a franchise perspective because it opened up a lot of...
Because she's Sarah Nurse.
She's Sarah Nurse. It opened up a lot of cap space to re-sign some of their other players, like Natalie Spooner and Hannah Miller.
And honestly, I love Spooner.
And they got to keep Emma Maltai.
And I love Emma Maltai.
I love her.
I love her so much.
I just want to, like, get a coffee and yap with her.
God, yeah. I would love to have a little girl dinner with her.
Yes.
I feel like it would be such an experience.
Yeah. And then Minnesota, I think, won the draft from the, like, original 6 teams because they got to keep Zumwinkle even though she was unprotected.
Which I don't know how they did that.
I think
whatever Etsy spell they bought worked.
Honestly, yeah.
They said, we need our protection spell
right now. Which the analyst that I was reading about, she said that Zumwinkle has had a lot of injuries, which is probably why they resisted taking her. But when she's healthy, she's incredible. Mm-hmm. And her and Heisey have such a good chemistry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still agree. Seattle, I think, won the draft.
I'm interested to see how the official, like, draft will go.
I'm going to pay more attention to that one.
Well, the expansion draft was, honestly, it kind of snuck up on us. We, recorded it, and then it was like, bam, it's the next day. And I was like, whoa. I was trying to research.
Really snuck up on me.
But it was like, ooh, it's happening at 5:30 tonight. And I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah. Test. Yeah, it was actually so quick. Also, Vancouver got Sophie Jack. Claire Thompson. Mm-hmm. I think I already said Claire Thompson. Those two in itself are good, but with Sarah Nurse on top of it, like, pop off.
Yeah.
And did they get Boren? They did. And Sydney Bird from Boston. Shit.
That's basically Boston. How would you describe your expansion draft?
Shit. Yeah. I can't believe they fumbled Hillary Knight. Like, I can, but I can't.
In my head, the only way I can forgive that or make that make sense to me is if Hillary was like, no, I kind of want something new. Like, I kind of want to go help build this team. Because otherwise, what the hell?
I don't see her doing that, though.
I don't either, but I am trying to convince myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, I'll be buying merch from them as soon as it's available.
Oh, my gosh, yes. I actually was looking the other day. I think there is some.
Yeah, I need to look on Etsy, though. You know how I feel about buying official merch.
That's real. I have a couple other notes, NHL related. And do you have anything else to talk about PWHL?
No.
Okay.
No, you covered it all.
NHL, before we get into this series.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I do have one more fact about the PWHL, and I just want to drop it. It's not a big deal. It's very casual. There are like 33 more players. Last year, and there was 167 players who declared for the draft, and this year there's 199, which just shows the sport is growing. Go, girls.
It is for sure growing. And I love it so much.
It's a freaking... I was looking through some of the people who declared... We're going to be stacked, y'all.
There is one hockey player here. We follow her. I think her name's Abby Lynn. Mm-hmm. She basically established the women's hockey team at Auburn.
Yeah.
You've seen about that?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with her.
That's our girl.
Yeah. And then who's that Boston player? It was like, it just goes to show when you put money and support into women's sports... Like, this is the turnout. This is the success we've had.
Oh God, who said that?
Who was
I
that?
saw it, but who's...
I think it was Boston.
Okay, well, I can't find it immediately, and we have more to talk about.
Yes.
So she knows who she are. Nope, that's not correct at all. She knows who she is. Also, I ordered a medium, but they gave me a large. And you know what? Slay on them.
Yeah, period.
That's why I love 7 Brew. Yeah.
So, NHL...
Do you want to take a sip of your coffee?
I just did.
Okay.
So, NHL. I don't know if you've seen the Great Clips ad.
No.
For... Matthew Tkachuk has done a Great Clips ad.
Well, that makes sense with that haircut.
I was going to say the same thing. No, because
everything makes sense.
His haircut does look like he gets his haircut at Great Clips.
And no, because why do I genuinely believe that he probably walks into some random ass barber shop and is like, do what you want.
Do what you want. Keep the mullet.
Mm-hmm. Nothing from the top. You can take from the sides, though.
Nothing from the top.
The curls must stay.
The curls must stay. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw that and it made me giggle. So I wrote it down.
That's so on brand.
Also, ahead of game 4, there was a video that came out of this girl waiting in like the tunnel for the Florida Panthers or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's so adorable. Who is that? Brad Marchand's daughter. Okay, you didn't.
Is he married?
Yes. Okay.
Why? Brad Marchand gives me the vibe that he is an eternal bachelor.
Yes, me too. No,
but like in a fun uncle way.
Yes, absolutely in a fun uncle way. But yeah, so him and I think her name's Katarina.
Cute.
Got together in 2010. They got married in 2015. They have 2 daughters, and she had a son from a previous marriage. But he says they have 3 kids.
As you should.
That's
actually the bare minimum for being a stepdad.
Yes. So I was like, what the frick? How did I not know he had a daughter? Come to find out he's got 3 kids.
That actually explains.
And a whole wife.
That explains a lot. He does give, so many of them do though, give girl dad energy. But he just gives fun uncle bachelor energy.
He gives fun uncle energy.
With absolutely no disrespect to his family.
Yeah. It was adorable though.
That's so
she was
cute.
in a Marchand jersey that...
Are they young
Monsters
kids?
Inc.
Yes.
When she's in that giant t-shirt, that's the energy that gave. And she's like peeking her head out, watching them come down with fist bumping everybody. And then Brad kisses her. I'm like, this is adorable. What the heck?
That's how I feel. Young. They saw what the Red Wings did.
Yeah.
With all their kids.
They know how to win me over.
Especially the Canes kid. Oh my freaking God.
They know how to win me over. And it worked.
It worked. Between that and the Dairy Queen closes in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Of it all. Brad Marchand said he's eating Dairy Queen literally every day of the Stanley Cup run.
Yeah, I saw a picture of them
and you know what?
last night after the game.
Yeah.
A fan ran into them at Dairy Queen.
Ran in.
Not me choking.
Dude, I will say their ice cream is some of the best.
That's a hot take.
I know.
Okay. Speaking of hot takes,
it's just nostalgic to me too.
It is definitely,
but it's always consistent, and they crush up the M&Ms, which I prefer.
Yeah, that's true.
Unlike
It'd
McDonald's.
It'd be a shame if we got some Dairy Queen.
Well, it would be a shame because I gave up trying to process lactose years ago, since it literally never happened.
Okay, Game 3.
Let's do it.
That's what the Panthers said because they won that game 6-1.
Yeah, they absolutely embarrassed.
They destroyed the Oilers. The Oilers kind of destroyed themselves.
They self-imploded.
Let me just set the scene. 35 penalties were given out.
Think Capitals, Hurricanes.
Actually, I have a note in here that says they tried to do that, just weren't very successful with it. Yeah. 35 penalties, 21 against the Oilers.
Yep.
140 penalty minutes were given out. And that was the most penalties in Stanley Cup Finals since 1986.
You go, guys. Hey, if you can't beat them, fight them. Am I right?
Yeah. Which in 1986, it was the Oilers versus the Canadiens.
It's always a freaking Oilers.
The most of all time is 176 penalty minutes. So they could have, they almost got there.
They were shooting for a new PR.
They were shooting, that's for sure. And most of it came in the third, which we'll talk about. Period 1, there were 8 penalties. Brad Marchand came in and scored with 56 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
He has been on one.
Him and Corey Perry and Leon Draisaitl.
I swear, I talked so much crap about Corey Perry, and then ever since, he's been incredible.
He heard you.
He did hear me. I have so many notes on this game. I don't think I want to talk about all of this. Hang on. Evander Kane has taken so many dumbass penalties. Put him on a leash.
A dumbass penalty hates to see him coming.
A dumbass penalty hates to see him coming. The Oilers had a power play off of a questionable tripping call. Leon Draisaitl he wasn't tripped. But they called a tripping penalty against the Panthers anyways, so that's slay. But with 9 seconds left on the power play, Evander Kane gets called for cross-checking with 9 seconds left. I'm like, just shut the fuck up. Sit down. And then he got another penalty for high-sticking Marchand. And in this, there was a lore drop. Evander Kane's dad played junior hockey with Brad Marchand's dad. They played on the same team for years.
Do they have beef?
No, that was just the
regular
lore.
hockey?
I just love when I'm like, oh, so your dads know
Small
each
world.
other.
So you're a Nepo baby. Got it.
Yeah, and once the Oilers drew a third penalty, or were called for a third penalty just 10 minutes into the game, they interviewed Knobloch on the bench, and he literally called it a recipe for disaster.
And he was right.
He was right. He was right. Let's see. There was some pushing and shoving.
Yeah, there was a lot of pushing and shoving.
Oh, at the end of the first is when I said some cheap shots from both teams, most notably Kane versus Kachuk.
And it always.
Lundell got punched by Bouchard. They wanted to be the Caps and the Habs, but couldn't get it done.
I know. They didn't have their secret weapon, which is Tom Wilson, to really just throw someone into a bench with a ref right in between them.
Yeah, they have Wallman, though, who's trying to Tom Wilson it.
Hey.
He is...
Sequel is never as good as the original.
Specifically, well, actually, this is really funny. In the second period, again, they're pushing and shoving a lot. Mm-hmm. Djokovic was mocking the Oilers. I wish I could show his face. Like, I wish I could do his face for you. He was giving I'm cracked, and then I said, update from the third period, he is cracked. It's freaking hilarious. But, so Wallman and Greer are shoving each other after a whistle. Wallman, like, puts his hand on him to shove him. Greer grabs his hand, rips his glove off, and then throws it into the Panthers bench so that Wallman has to ask for it back.
Yeah. It was
Which is so funny.
Look, all of their intrusive thoughts won.
All of their intrusive thoughts
which was hilarious fodder. But
yeah, and
not necessarily a masterclass.
Within that same incident, Wallman gets his gloves back, goes to the bench, is squirting water onto the Panthers bench, which is a finable offense by the NHL. First of all, it's like hitting...
Which is hilarious.
It's hitting Boosh with the commentators in between the benches, and he's like, stop it! He was like banging the glass like, don't, there's outlets right here.
He's like, children, stop it!
It was so funny. Which...
Do you think he asked nicely? Do you think he said please when he asked for his glove back, or what?
No. I don't picture him saying please, asking for it back.
Please, sir, can I have my glove?
Yeah. What else do I want to say about it? It was just a physical game. Nurse got called for cross-checking at the end of the second period too. Lundell kind of threw himself down on the ice.
There was dramatics from both sides throughout the game.
And then Wallman, like, reached over, and I said that Lundell pretended to get punched in the face, but then I did see it from a different angle. He did get punched in the face.
The theater.
For sure. But he did also embellish on that. And neither one were called, so I'm like, it's fine.
I know.
And then the third period. There were 26 penalties handed out in the third period.
I wasn't surprised. I'll say that.
Yeah.
With how it had been going, I figured that it was going to be, honestly, bench clearing.
Yeah, so going into... Well, I don't know about that, so I'm going to leave that out. Skinner shot the puck out of play on accident, got a delay of game penalty, and on that penalty kill, or on that power play, the Panthers scored to put them up 5-1, which isn't fun. At that point, the Oilers pulled Skinner and put in Pickard, which is too late, in my opinion.
We really should have done that when we were 3-0.
Yeah, instead there's 15 minutes left in the game and it's 5-1.
It is my opinion, if you're going to pull your goalie, you should do it when you're down by 3. Waiting any longer than that is just stupid.
I agree. They should have
Don't even get me started on an empty net.
Girl, yeah. They should have just started Pickard at the beginning of the third.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I don't know, though. Who
That's
am I
my
to
opinion.
judge? Who am I to judge except the one with the microphone in my face? Janmark got a reffing penalty, though, for punching Greer in the back of the head. That did
Which was
happen.
fair.
Yeah. 10 minutes and 29 seconds in. Madness. God, I can't even
Try
remember.
your best.
There's so much. I have a bunch of bullet points, so I'm just going to read them off as I go.
I like it.
Started with Frederick cross-checking Bennett, hard enough to break his stick. Then Nurse came out of nowhere to hit Greer. I think he was just like, fuck it, we ball.
He was like, we're going.
5 fights break out. We got Schmidt versus Connor Brown. We got Gadjevich going at it with Nurse. They went on for the longest, and that was probably the majority of the fight.
Well, they're fighters.
And honestly, it was a pretty fair fight. They both got
I was proud of
good
both
punches
of them.
in. Gadjevich looked insane, skating away with blood down his face, like smile.
Like a freaking Viking.
He smiled the whole time they were fighting.
Which is terrifying, but also so cool.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Ekholm and Greer were going at it right on the Oilers bench.
Yeah.
Oilers players were reaching over, getting hits in too, which is crazy to me, but that's fine.
That was crazy because that was like 3-on-1 for most of it.
Yeah, that one was probably the one that I'm like, that's too much.
The refs did not break that up fast enough.
Which there were fights going on. That was the one that they were trying to break up the most.
I know, but yeah, they were not doing it.
Yeah, Bennett and Frederick were going at it on the ice too. It got to a point where the refs like couldn't do anything, so they were just letting the players tire themselves out. They're like,
we gotta let the children wear themselves out.
Yeah, they were like, we can't. Y'all have just got to tire it out, and y'all are all getting misconducts.
Yep.
I did say Gadjevich looks insane, but is smiling for the majority of the fight and while skating away. Greer, Bennett, Nurse, Frederick, Gadjevich, and Ekholm all got 10-minute misconducts with 9 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the game. So, like, their game's over.
Yep.
And the Panthers came out of that whole thing with a 2-minute power play. Not that that mattered.
Because they didn't even need it. We could have called the freaking game at that point.
We could have. But nevertheless,
we didn't.
Nevertheless, 13 minutes and 55 seconds into that period, Evander Kane got a game misconduct. Yeah, Evander Kane was called for slashing against Verhaeghe, got a game misconduct. What really happened was Bouchard came up and slashed Verhaeghe, and he went down on the ice. And Evander Kane gave him a little love tap on the shoulder, on the numbers, and he got called for the game misconduct instead of Bouchard. Verhaeghe,
you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. You lost big time this game.
Sometimes we lose a lot.
Yeah, and then with 5 minutes and 16 seconds left in the game, Wallman and Tkachuk go at it. Klingberg was holding Tkachuk. This was actually...
Tkachuk is such a little...
No, I don't know if you saw this. This was actually insane. I haven't seen enough people talking about this specific fight. They're in front of the net. Tkachuk always does net front. Klingberg grabs him and is holding him back as Wallman is like punching. It's basically a 2-on-1 fight. He got jumped in the...
Personally, I think he deserved it because he, in his little cheap shots, and then he goes and hides behind the ref like a little bitch boy.
That's actually valid.
So I was actually fine with that. It was actually nice to see him get his ass beat a little.
Yeah, Ekblad did come in to go at Wallman. I did giggle to myself because Ekblad comes in and like tries to hip check him essentially, but falls.
He tried to like pop lock and drop it on him.
Yeah, but he just dropped it. He just fell, and it looked so funny. He slid down.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
He did get back up and actually get some shots in and stuff.
God, that was so funny.
But Wallman was called for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Which was fair, but I also feel like it was deserved.
And he got 2 roughings versus Tkachuk. Ekblad was called 2 roughings against Wallman. All of that's fair. The game is over at this point. The commentators literally were like, McDavid and Draisaitl are not going to come back out on the ice.
No!
Because you're not going to risk that. They did, because there were not enough players. They had to come out and play.
I think they literally only had...
like 2 more shifts? Max.
My favorite thing about all of this is one of my favorite things about
there's
more team fights like that, is at the end when they show one bench and the other, and there's like 2 players still available sitting on the bench for the Oilers and like a ton more Panthers.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that shot. Makes me giggle every time.
With 4:13 remaining, Kasperi Kakkonen cross-checked Luostarinen and got a 10-minute misconduct. Rodriguez scored on a power play. The nail was already in the coffin, but honestly...
We were already 4 feet in the ground, but they wanted to make sure we were the full 6.
Yeah.
And they did.
And then with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left, Luostarinen got penalty. He charged Kulak.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Thank you. I teed that one up for you.
Corey Perry also wanted a piece of Mikkola, who he wanted to drop the gloves with him, but Mikkola didn't want to, so Nosek was going to do it.
I don't like Mikkola. He does the same thing as Matthew Tkachuk does.
Yeah, he does. Post-game of all of this madness, Jake Wallman was fined $10,000 for punching Matthew Tkachuk for all of that, which tracks, and for spraying water at the Panthers bench for all of that incident.
And honestly, if you need me to financially contribute to you paying that fine, just let me know, because I will happily. It was worth it.
Take that up with her, not with me.
It was worth it.
Yeah. Bobrovsky was just so good in that game.
He's so good.
He's been so good. Also, the Oilers were terrible. They did it to themselves. They were so undisciplined.
Well, we started cracking right out of the gate, and then by that point, we just fully said, fuck this game. We're just going to fight. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is my first... Sorry, Mike. I feel like this is my first Stanley Cup run, but I estimated at least one game in the final is just going to be an all-out brawl, like just for tension's sake.
The thing is...
But I don't know. That was just my assumption.
In my opinion... The Panthers won the game, and they won the fights.
Yeah.
The Oilers, they were picking on someone way bigger than them.
They were trying to fight a rat, but they forgot that rats run in a pack.
Speaking of rats, ahead of Game 4, this article pissed me off to see. Because tell me why. It was like,
Tell me.
Connor McDavid's wife, Lauren, takes cheap shots at Brad Marchand. Do you want to know what happened? Because I clicked on it because I was like,
if Lauren Kyle McDavid is saying something, you have fucked up.
Do you want to know what it was? The Wags had like either shirts or jackets that said Rat Patrol on them.
Yeah.
Which is freaking hilarious.
That's so funny.
And she posted... it on her story with the caption, Alberta Rat Control Program, established 1950, has been instrumental in keeping the province essentially rat-free.
Which is so funny.
It's a bit of a laugh, Danielle.
We're just having a laugh. It's funny. It's tongue-in-cheek. God, men can't take it.
And they're like, Lauren McDavid is taking shots at Brad Marchand. Shut up. It's a joke.
Shut the fuck up.
Because honestly, I bet that Brad Marchand would be like, that's funny.
He does not care.
No
one cares.
No,
so stupid.
It is stupid. What is this? What the frick? Sorry. Ahead of Game 4, the Oilers brought Skinner, the forward, not the goalie, and
thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, and Stincher back into the lineup after the shit show that was Game 3.
Yeah,
and they started Skinner in net. Which is a hot take to me at this point.
Personally, I wouldn't have.
However, the Oilers...
But they did pull it off.
They did pull it off. They said, y'all may have got us in Game 3, but we're going to go 5-4 in overtime.
And the thing is, I'm pretty sure when we turned off watching the game, it was still... The Panthers were still up 3-0. And we were like, well, that's freaking that.
So, yeah, because imagine my surprise when I woke up and I saw the Oilers scored 4 in a row to come back and won the game. Because you said, we woke up, we were both working that day. We woke up, you passed by my bathroom. I've literally just woken up. You said, good morning. I said, the Oilers won last night? That was the first thing I said to you.
Well, I woke up and because I run a lot of the socials So I'm sorry.
she very much does our socials.
So I went straight to the Panthers because I was like, they won. Let me just find their thing so I can put it on our story. And then I couldn't find it. And then I went to NHL and I was like, what the fuck? How?
No, literally.
And you know what? Do it again.
Because we were going to bed. I was like, I'm not staying up for this. The Panthers are up 3-0. I
was like, I've seen this before.
They've got this in the bag. Like, it was nice knowing the Oilers while they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. The Oilers started Skinner. First of all, have you seen Skinner at center ice, like, before the game?
Yes.
He always warms up, like, at the red line and is looking over to the opposing side or whatever. The Panthers' backup goalie, Vanacek, came over and, like, got at his face, which is funny. And then Pickard comes up out of the blue and is, like, hunched over looking at him. And I don't know what he said. Bush wouldn't repeat it, so
he wouldn't say what he said, but he did say that he had to, like, warm up a little bit because he doesn't normally chirp at anyone. He had to go stand with his man.
Yeah,
that's a summation. That's not a direct quote.
Also, most importantly, Taylor Swift was there.
Taylor Swift was there.
Travis Kelce was there as well.
Yeah,
but
her boyfriend
Taylor
was there
Swift
too.
was there.
Taylor Swift was there.
I wrote, I can't wait to see all the angry men on the internet about it. Because they were basically just gossiping the whole time. Here's the thing. Because I did purposely search out the angry men on the internet about Taylor Swift because I just wanted to. And Taylor lived in Nashville. This is not new news. She went to a lot of Predators games when she lived in Nashville.
God forbid a girl catch a vibe at a hockey game.
God forbid. And Travis Kelce apparently played hockey growing up.
He don't care. He's just going to go where Taylor's going, you know?
Yeah.
They're just going to vibe together.
Yeah.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that.
And I don't know. I couldn't find anywhere if they booed her or not in the arena, which probably means hopefully they didn't. But I personally loved it. And the broadcasters were having such a fun time. Specifically, Jackie, the, like, on-ice correspondent, too. I have a couple quotes from her from later on. I love her. And then I said, nobody says anything about it when Justin Bieber was in the Toronto game.
What do you mean? They said several things about it.
Oh, then I'll cut it.
They actually said that he needed to leave because he's cursed. Because every time he comes to one of those, they freaking lose.
Which the Panthers did lose. Taylor.
That's not Taylor's fault.
I know, but what are you doing on Tuesday? Do you want to go to a Panthers game?
Yeah.
Maybe the Oilers can push a game 7.
Can we convince you to go?
Honestly, though, imagine Taylor at a PWHL game.
I'd freaking love it.
They would love her. I would love her. Come to a PWHL game.
Yeah. That'd be phenomenal.
To the actual game itself.
Wait. I just have one thing I want to say.
Go for it.
My friends obviously know we have a podcast. They don't watch hockey. They don't care about hockey. That's fine. But they all knew and mentioned that Taylor Swift was at a hockey game. And I was like, babes, I know. I was watching that thing, and I was watching it, and I was like, where is she? Keep showing her.
Keep showing her.
I'm like, can we get her to do the intermission report?
Yeah. There was one clip that they showed, and she's looking at something on Travis's phone, and I can literally hear her voice in my head with, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, I know what she...
I was like, I want to know what's going on. Yeah. What is so dramatic that he had to pull up the receipts?
No, literally. Where's the lip reading girl?
Mm-hmm. Where is she?
Give it to me.
Weigh in.
Please. Yeah, so first period, Skinner played really, really well in the first period.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because they pulled him after and put Pickard in for the second and third.
Yep.
I don't know, though. My number one no, I wish I could recreate the way that Skinner just yeeted himself across the crease to rob Sam Bennett from a goal. I can't recreate it. You're just going to have to picture it in your head.
That's our modern day Robin Hood right there.
Yeah.
Stealing from the rich.
Yeah.
Evander. To give to the poor.
Yeah.
The Oilers.
The Oilers. Evander Kane took the first penalty.
Let me find my surprise.
Yeah, it was drawn by Greer. I didn't write down what it was, but Greer skated by the Oilers bench afterwards and just over and over said all night long, which is kind of sick.
It would be so annoying because I'd be like, bro, we fucking get it. But you know what? I don't play hockey, and I have also been called up before when I allow my competitive streak to come out, so
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And was it all night long?
Up until about 10 minutes into overtime. When it was Leon Draisaitl.
Suddenly the night was over.
Suddenly the night ended. Mm-hmm. But Nurse also drew a penalty. He tripped Barkov.
Yeah, of course.
And gave the Panthers a 5-on-3.
Which is less than ideal.
It is less than ideal.
He also takes a lot of dumb penalties.
Yeah, but he's a nurse, so I forgive him.
Fair.
And Tkachuk scored on that power play and then had another power play goal, put the Panthers up 2-0. With 41.7 seconds left in the first period, Lundell scored to put the Panthers up 3-0. At this point, we were going to bed, and I was like, the Panthers have this in the bag.
Yeah.
They did not. Second period, the Oilers started Pickard, which, like, honestly tracks with previous games. Knobloch said that it was kind of to put a fire in the, like, players, which I get. And honestly, I think it was Bush talking about, because he was a goaltender, they were talking about how the team generally has a closer relationship with the backup goaltender more than the starting goaltender.
Which is hilarious.
Because the backup goaltender has to stay for practices longer to give them shots on goal and, like, to block shots and stuff. Which makes sense. And I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
And how they, like, tend to want to play better for the backup goaltender.
Which is so sweet.
Because they want to, like, give him a chance.
Yeah.
Which I love.
I think that's really sweet.
I think it's so sweet. And Pickard was 6-0 in his previous postseason games, like this offseason, postseason, offseason, whatever. Doesn't matter.
We're not in off season yet.
We're not in off season, and they scored.
Question mark?
They did score. I know they scored. Just over 3 minutes in, Nugent Hopkins scored. Then Darnell Nurse scored to put it 2-3, and then with 4 minutes and 55 seconds left in the second period, Podkolzin, that name always throws me.
That's a hard name.
Podkolzin scores to tie the game, and they played Taylor Swift, Shake It Off, which
when she's in the building
makes me smile.
I hope that made her giggle.
I just know it did. Here's my favorite part of that all. Jackie, they, like, cut to her to get her commentator, and she's like, commentary. And she's like, as the official Taylor Swift correspondent, I was like, I love it.
I really like her.
I wrote down the exact quote. After taking a 3-0 lead and blowing it to these Edmonton Oilers, they opted to play Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. Though I don't think that helped the crowd feel any better about what has transpired here in the second.
Oh, Jackie.
Yeah, I loved it.
That's my commentator right there.
Yeah. I also wrote down Leon Draisaitl took an elbowing penalty in the second period. The song that they chose to play was Whoop Whoop, that's the sound of the police.
That's an unhinged decision.
No, it was so funny.
That's so freaking funny. The thing is, if I was a player on ice and I was in the penalty box, whatever, for something I'd done, and they played something like that, like an absolute banger, I would be dying laughing.
It was so funny.
Cackling.
It was so funny. Anyways, Wallman scored in the third. Florida ties it 4-4 with 20 seconds left in the third period. A goal scored by Sam Reinhart to push overtime, which is crazy in and of itself. Crazy enough that I didn't even write any more notes than what I just said out loud. Overtime, I also don't have a ton of notes. It was madness. There was like a minute and 40 seconds in. The Oilers had so many shots on goal, like right up in front of the net. There were so many bodies were flying, including Bobrovsky's body was flying. He couldn't find the puck. He lost his stick. The Oilers were going crazy. Somehow he manages to save it in this position on the ice. It was great. Perry hit hard into the boards by Forsling. Clean, I guess, but still hard. No call. Anyways.
He's fine.
Sam Bennett, I thought that Florida scored even though I had already known the score, because I was watching this the next day when I woke up, I thought that Florida scored and won it for a second because Sam Bennett had a shot off the post just under 7 minutes in. Like, everyone, the fans, the commentators, like, everybody thought that he scored. Mm-hmm. It didn't.
Rough day.
He didn't. Pickard barely got a piece of it to knock it high to hit the bar and go off of that. It was...
And that's my backup goalie right there.
Yeah, it was insane. And then 11 minutes and 18 seconds in, Leon Draisaitl scored to win the game with a beautiful one-handed backhand goal. It was great.
He has been way more consistent this playoff run than historically speaking he may or may not have been.
Yeah, he set an NHL postseason goal record of 4 overtime goals. I'm not sure if that's a league-wide record or a personal one, but it feels personal.
Feels personal to me.
It does feel personal. And then we have Game 5. This was last night's game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know what day it is. It's really throwing me. It's Sunday.
Sunday.
Okay.
Yesterday felt like an entire weekend.
Yesterday was like 4 days in one.
Yeah.
This weekend has been 3 weeks.
I can't wait to just sit on the couch, do a little bit of homework, study for a test, and watch Pretty Little Liars for like 4 hours straight.
Yeah, that's actually ideal. So, Edmonton started Pickard last night for
Yeah, they
Game
did.
5, which
I liked it.
I support. I don't know if it's a goaltender problem at this point either, or if the Panthers are just like that good. I think the Panthers are just that good.
I think the Panthers are just that good.
Yeah, because the Panthers did win that game 5-2. Mm-hmm. Brad Marchand had 2 goals. He had 5 shots. In total, there were 18 by the Panthers, so he had like a fourth of the shots, more than.
Dairy Queen's working.
Period. I don't have a ton of notes on this because, quite frankly, I was fighting for my life, and I just don't have a ton of notes. Also,
it just was pretty, not unforgettable. It was back to business, you know?
It was back to business. It wasn't a Game 3.
Like, we let off all of our steam. We were fine.
Yeah, one thing is Gadjevich blocked a shot with his foot and went down the tunnel. He came back to the bench, which isn't surprising because he seems like the type to be like, it only causes as much pain as you let it.
Yeah, I do get that vibe.
It's all in your head.
I'll worry about it later.
I'll worry about it after the cup.
That's what the off season's for.
Which, then I looked at his ice time to see how much. He had like 8 minutes of ice time, but honestly, that's a bit on par with what he normally does. Mm-hmm. Marchand scored first. Is he under contract next season? I don't think he is.
I don't know.
But I think that he will I feel like he will re-sign with the Panthers.
Yeah, we don't know where he's going to play.
He's not under contract.
Yeah, it's looking, he's not under contract.
I feel like he's fit in so well with the Panthers. I would be kind of shocked if he went somewhere else. But also, what do I know?
I mean, he's only playing for like $8 million. So I feel like y'all can afford that.
I feel like that as well.
I feel like he has proved his worth more than once.
Yeah. You know what the Oilers can't afford? Leon Draisaitl not scoring. Because 13 minutes into the first, he shoots. This was another goal that the commentators and the fans all reacted as if he scored. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it looked like he scored too. Like the puck went behind Bobrovsky. Mm-hmm. I don't know how. Actually, I do know because I just saw it. I said maybe a lucky bounce update. It went off the net. But I thought for sure that was scored. But what do I do? Anyways, nothing happened in the second. And then in the third period, a lot happened. There were 5 goals in the third period. 3 by the Panthers. Marchand scored again. Reinhart scored. And Luostarinen scored on the first empty net goal of the final series.
And that's what happens when you pull your goalie.
Well, I saw the Panthers pull their goalie, and it worked earlier in this series, and that was crazy to witness.
It's honestly luck if it does work. Because historically speaking,
it doesn't work.
It does not work even nearly as close as how many times people will do it.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. But Connor McDavid had his first goal of this series.
Literally, where the hell has he been?
He has had 6 assists.
I know he's been assisting Leon, but
Yeah, he's needed to score. It's been time. Corey Perry had another
in the
goal.
Bible where Jesus takes his little couple days of rest when he's dead and then he gets resurrected. We need McJesus, if you will, to be resurrected. Because where the hell are you, Loca?
I was really wondering how you're going to rope that into the Bible.
Because they call him McJesus.
I know. I was so thrown when you said it's like in the Bible. I was like, how? But he did score. Reinhardt scored 46 seconds later. So it was kind of for naught. And Corey.
It was kind of for naught. Babe, the Gilded Age next season doesn't come out for another couple weeks. Knock that off. What are you doing?
My best.
'Twas all for naught, and he shalleth score again. In McJesus' name.
You're bringing the Bible up, so I was just channeling King James Version.
The New Abbey translation. It was for naught. On this day in history.
Anyways, with just 3 minutes remaining, Corey Perry scored. The nail was already in the coffin, and they were already putting dirt back over it. So it's fine. Like, love to see Corey Perry score, but
it was a game 3 situation all over again.
It was. And with 1 minute and 19 seconds left in the game, Lusterinen scored the empty net goal. They won 5-2.
Yep.
The Panthers just controlled the game. They didn't, like, the Oilers just didn't have many good opportunities.
And we didn't have Taylor
Swift. Yeah. Period. That's all.
That is all.
Marchand, and I feel like you've probably seen this, but Marchand became the first player to score at least 5 goals in 2 separate Stanley Cup series with 2 different teams.
Also, he's 37 and still playing like this.
Dude, I didn't even realize he was 37, but that does track.
He's either 37 or 38.
I saw a quote from him talking about how playing with the Panthers, he feels like a young kid playing in the league.
He's playing like a young kid again.
He is. I love to see it, actually.
I want him to stay at the Panthers. It still feels illegal. I don't know that it will ever not feel illegal to see him in a Panthers uniform, but I'm loving the Florida Panthers version of Brad Marchand.
Yeah, honestly, now I'm like, he fits that uniform.
Well, he's always fit the uniform with how he is.
He's fit the team for sure.
Yeah. It's just weird to see it.
I agree. But he has 6 goals in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Final, which I think he's, I don't know, gives him some record. There was some record comparing him and Mario Lemieux. I don't remember because I was kind of like, sometimes they throw out the most insane stats, and I'm like,
They love to throw out a random stat.
They do. And I love a random stat, but that one I was like, nah. He was asked post-game what, like, young Brad Marchand would think about current Brad Marchand. And he said he'd probably think, man, that's a good-looking guy. And that's it.
How can you not? Brad off ice has really grown on me.
Yeah. Also,
since 4 Nations.
Actually... Yeah. He's funny. It was the whole, what's his name? It was the whole him and Biz feud. That I was like, he's actually hilarious.
Did you see that Paul Bissonnette has freaking gout?
Ew.
At 40 years old. What are you, King Henry VIII? What are you doing here?
What even is gout? I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
I can explain it in detail if you would like.
I don't want to. I'll just find like a brief synopsis on the internet. Anyways, his 5 goals on the road are the most in a Stanley Cup final since Jack Adams.
Wow.
Of the Jack Adams Award.
Oh my God.
Since Jack Adams of the Vancouver Millionaires in 1922.
Let's freaking go.
So, to say he's playing well would be an understatement.
Yeah.
And that's all. Game 6 will be in Sunrise on Tuesday. The Panthers have the chance to win the cup at home again. Alternatively,
sure would be cool if we force a Game 7.
I would love a Game 7.
I would love a Game 7.
My thing is, I would love for the team to win at home. Whichever team wins.
I do love a team to win at home.
So, like, if they do push a Game 7 and the Panthers win it in Edmonton, I'm going to be like, ugh, they should have just let them win Game 6. But that's just
Yeah.
me. I just think it's different in your home crowd.
Personally, I have not seen consistently the Oilers versus the Panthers. I have not seen the Oilers winning this series with how they've been playing.
No, I agree. Unless
However,
they
I would
just,
love it for them.
I would love a McDry Cup.
But if the Panthers win this one, I'll be like, yeah, obviously you played
Yeah.
pretty elite.
The Panthers
well deserved,
deserve it.
well earned. If the Oilers win it, I'd be like, you know what?
Hell
maybe
yeah.
maybe you are God's favorite. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that they wouldn't have played to deserve it, but it definitely some luck would have factored into that.
Oh, for sure. I agree. I think I was honestly thinking about this the other day, and as much as I would love for one of our teams to win the cup, it's kind of nice not being...
It takes so much pressure off.
Yeah. No, I'm like, I'll be happy regardless, I think.
I'll be content
I'll be
way.
content regardless. Whereas I could be absolutely heartbroken. But I've already gone through the grieving process.
Yeah, I was thinking us during the first 2 rounds of...
That was brutal.
That was pretty... Yeah, those were rough days.
We were playing...
I was needing a beverage to soothe the soul before a game.
Yeah.
Every game.
At Evan's party, we were playing... I don't even know what we were playing, if I'm fully honest. I was too far gone at that point. And freaking Nolan from across the table, I'm talking shit as I do, because I'm competitive. He goes, oh yeah, how are those Hurricanes doing? What a bitch. Talking about how they're eliminated. But she's
do you want to say what you told him in response?
the Rangers didn't even make the playoffs, bitch.
Exactly.
And my other friend, who's a Tampa Bay fan, just sat there quietly, kept his mouth shut, which is smart.
He didn't have nothing to say.
Nothing. Anyways, that's what you missed. On
Also,
Glee.
happy birthday to Kiki.
Oh, yes, happy birthday,
Happy birthday,
Kiki.
girly.
How old is she? I
For some
she's
reason, I want to
11.
say 10, and this would be her 11th, but let me see.
I also want to say this would be her 11th birthday.
Happy 11th birthday
Yes.
to Kiki. I hope it was everything you wanted and
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me see if I have anything else other than the trophy winners.
Oh,
Nope, I
yeah.
got nothing. All right, we're going to round up all but like 3 of the NHL trophy winners have been announced. So I'm just going to do a quick run through. If you don't know what they are, watch our trophy episode or ask Google.
I mean, you can also like ask us and we can tell you in the comments, but
It'll take
Google's probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. Okay, so Hellebuck won the Hart.
Yeah.
And to everyone who was talking shit about him, apologize now.
Right now. We'll hold.
Lane Hudson won the Calder.
Yes,
Which is very
I love
deserved.
Yeah.
I love that little rookie. I would have
I
been
love that
fine
nug.
either way. If Lane hadn't won it, it would have made no sense to me. But
Yeah.
that would have meant that Macklin won it, which would have also been fine.
Yeah.
The Art Ross and Ted Lindsay went to Nikita Kucherov,
Period.
which is fair. The Lady Bing went to Anze Kopitar.
Ugh.
The Marchand,
The Machard. Maurice.
which is Maurice Marchand, went to Leon Draisaitl. No one is surprised.
No.
Barkov won the Selke. Cal McCarr won the Norris, which honestly, I'd like to take a moment and bitch about that. Because
Bitch about it.
Quinn Hughes, not only did we not factor in emotional distress into the criteria for the Norris, we didn't factor in how many games he was out for his injuries and the fact that it was still so close. If he had been able to be healthy, aka if his team had shown any form of consistency on defense, then he would have had the Norris in the bag. But no, he had to put the whole team on his back again and also on his hand, which he hurt. And I just think that he should have won it. But that's fine. Cal McCarr technically, statistically won more, but he has a super strong team to back him up so that he doesn't really get injured. And that's all I'm going to say about that is Quinn Hughes should have won it, and that's all.
Okay.
But I'm also fine because Cal McCarr should technically have won it, so whatever. The Jack Adams went to Spencer Carberry.
Yeah.
He was a Capitals head coach, and I don't
Yeah.
remember if we talked about this. I
We
feel like we
did.
did. It was very sweet to see him get awarded the trophy by his parents on, not his parents, that's such a lie. It was his wife and his kids. brought the trophy out to him when he was recording some interview about how he won it. And it was very cute. He teared up immediately. God, I love it when they humanize a villain.
Me too. Actually, yeah.
I was like, that's adorable. That is absolutely adorable. Your sins are forgiven this season. And the Messier leadership trophy went to Ovechkin, which, yeah, of course. And that's all for now. There's still, I think, 3 that are up for grabs, but those were pretty much all the big
Conn
ones.
Smythe will probably go to Sam Bennett, I think.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till it's over. That's for sure.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see you next week to talk about Game 6 and 7. If not,
wait,
then
I have
Game
one
6.
more thing.
Yes.
Did you see that Macklin Celebrini spent his birthday with the Toffoli's?
He spent his birthday with his family, and Tyler Toffoli was there.
Oh. His family is Tyler Toffoli.
Truly.
Dad,
He's
Papa,
officially
if you will.
uncle.
I was kind of shocked to not see Will there, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know where Will is. But I know where
Probably
he wasn't.
in Michigan.
Yeah, he probably was like, I cannot.
He's probably in the off-season training camp.
Ugh, I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next episode, we'll have a Stanley Cup champion.
We will. Who do you think is going to win it? Let's say it on 3. Nope. Let's say it on 3.
Okay.
It can be based in reality or delusion, but you have to specify afterwards.
How delusion?
I mean, it can't be the Hurricanes. It's got to be either the Panthers or the Oilers.
Okay.
All right, count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Panthers.
Oilers.
No, Panthers.
I think the Oilers are going to do what they did last year and pop the hell off in Game 6, force a Game 7, and then maybe not fumble.
I would love to see it, but I don't picture that.
Well, mine's
For
based in
us.
delusion.
Yeah.
Realistically,
I mean, it's
the
not
Panthers.
super delusional, but
It could happen. We'll see.
It could happen.
We'll see. Let us know who you think's going to win.
Yeah.
And that's all for now. We've got to go rest.
Yeah, I've got to pass out. I'm going to take a fat nap, eat some soup.
Eat some soup and take a fat nap. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Have a good week.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.